This is a previously recorded episode of the IT and the D Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
You're listening to the IT in the D Show.
Just where do you guys think you are?
The Library of Congress?
Detroit?
Beyond the sun? Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
I used to hang out at the Magumba Bar. It was a rough place, the seediest dive on the wharf, populated with every reject and cutthroat from Bombay to Calcutta. It's worse than Detroit.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
I dig you IT geeks. This is Dre DeMatteo from Sons of Anarchy. You are listening to IT and the D.
So what happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly. Come on. Someone tries. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the show.
Hi, this is Ralph Macchio, and you're listening to IT in the D Show. Wax on, you know what.
So you have no boots.
No.
You have no gloves.
No.
You have no hat.
No.
You have no scarf.
No.
You have no scraper.
No.
How long have you lived in Michigan?
All my life.
You, sir, are an idiot.
I don't care.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, John Kreese from the Karate Kid movie, and you're listening to IT in the D.
Yes, Sensei!
Are we at a break yet?
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds! What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. IT and the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear? I'm in my underwear. Here, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
Hello, everybody. This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men. I'm a techie. I'm a nerd, fellow podcaster. My favorite podcast is IT and the D.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
It's just too big. It's way too big.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
We just lost our clean tag on iTunes.
This is Robert Hayes, the tit striker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo Bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat stick.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
My name is Michael Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Man. You're listening to IT in the D.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Live from Podcast Detroit, this is the IT in the D Show. It is Monday, December 21st, the pre-Christmas, post-Star Wars hangover episode 123. We are recording live, beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy, always here with Dave the Geek. Nuri the FNG is in the house, and Jeff the Other White Meat. Jeff Haas is in the house. Find us online, itandthed.com. Like us on the Facebook /ITND. Follow us on the Twitter. We have an Instagram. We got a couple apps on Android and iOS under Podcast Detroit. We have a full studio. We were going to have an empty studio, but made a couple phone calls. And we were lucky enough to, we got Billy Straughter, old friend of the show from Social Coop Media. He'll be joining us with a second. He'll be joining us the second segment, talking about everything that is social media. And we got Justin here from Brainiac Developers, new startup in town. Lives right around the corner, so this was an easy land. But we're going to be talking about what's like the startup company in Detroit and what you're doing.
That's named after a supervillain.
Brainiac.
Yeah.
I'm the lyrical Jesse James. That's what I heard.
No, not Maniac, Brainiac. Oh, didn't win all the games. I'm the lyric. No, not that's yeah.
I think you just called one of our guests Easy, Bob.
No, I did not.
Wouldn't be the first time. Hey, so before we dive in, though, so this episode of the IT and the D Show is brought to you by Braintree. Developers around the world have embraced the Braintree V.0 SDK as the easiest way to add secure mobile payments to their apps and websites. So no matter what payment type, Braintree accepts it, whether it's Apple Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, even Bitcoin. And if something new pops up, they'll probably support that too. So it's the same payment solution used by Uber, Airbnb, GitHub, our friends over at Grubbable. So you know it scales. Integrating it into your app is easy as inserting a few lines of code. So, but don't take our word for it. Go ahead and try out the sandbox. See for yourself at BraintreePayments.com/lowercase it. That's BraintreePayments.com/lowercase it.
So in Bob terminology, if you have a mobile app and you want to take payments,
it's so easy a Bob can do it,
and you don't want to go to an external site because you're like, don't look good, me no likey.
Yeah,
it's embedded in your site, and you get the comfies and the feels, and you don't hate your experience.
Right?
It's think about it. Every time you use Uber, it's painless.
I just tried it actually, and there's no longer a lowercase requirement.
Oh,
I
good
put
for
in
them.
Capital IT, and I got it. Also used by Casper, those delicious beds that. Yeah.
We just got Casper pillows.
Why are you eating beds? Why? I got nothing.
Delicious.
So I guess just to handle a little more business, we did go ahead and get all of our events for 2016 out and published on the web. They're out on the Facebook page. They're out on the Meetup group. We kick off the year on Thursday, January 21st, down at Firebird Tavern. We'll be there from 5 o'clock on. All the usual suspects. No agendas, no cover charges, no nonsense. Just us and probably some other people and probably some alcohol. That's how that works.
And no buttholes. Remember, that's a theme.
We've spent 15 years kicking them out.
Hashtag no buttholes.
That really, it is. Like, that. This is like year 15. Like, 01, 2016, like it's weird.
07 was when it went real.
Yeah, true.
The early days was kind of like we didn't know what it was supposed to be.
We still don't.
Yeah, but 07, I think, so we're embarking on our 9th year of
actually trying.
And we still giggle when people try, like, we're going to run an IT networking event. Yeah, you go try.
You go ahead.
You go try.
Have fun.
How much are you charging for that again?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
$0. That's right. The cost to get in is Bluto Butarski's grade point average. 0.0.
So, how many times did you see Star Wars this week?
Just once. Have not gone to see it a second time yet. Haven't had time.
Twice.
0.0.
You didn't go?
No. So the wife and I promised that we'd actually go through and watch every single episode again before we go see the movie. So we're
all right. You might just want to walk out of the room for this next segment.
You know what's more?
How far are you on that quest, Nary?
We're 4 and 5 is where we're at right now. So
redone or not redone for the originals?
I downloaded a BD rip from torrents somewhere, so I'm not sure if they're redone.
So special editions,
probably.
You know what's more annoying though than the build up and the hype and everything? It's the no spoilers, you guys. Come on. Stop with no spoilers.
I'm not going to lie. It's like, so we're what? It opened Thursday. We're at Monday. Look, if you don't want to hear anything about Star Wars, just skip ahead a half hour because we're going to yak for a bit.
Spoiler alert.
So,
exactly.
I need to leave for the first half hour.
We won't get too deep into the plot points and all that kind of stuff. Right. Yeah. And the opening 2 minutes were brutal. It was all of the Ewoks munching down on all the stormtroopers that they killed at the end of Jedi. That was the opening. A very brutal, gruesome Texas Chainsaw Massacre scene. And honestly, that's been the fun part.
We didn't talk about the end of Return of the Jedi,
but that's been the fun part to me is all the fake spoilers that people are posting to troll the people that are so when
I walked
getting
out,
pissed off about it.
I may or may not have said I can't believe they brought Boba Fett back to kill him that quickly, and I may have gotten a couple dirty looks, but I was that guy. And I may or not be screaming that I can't believe Kylo Ren was Jar Jar.
So is
How did he get those ears?
I know, exactly.
So one of the fake spoilers being Princess Leia and Luke had sex and forgot that they were brother and sister and she did it anyway?
Twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Yeah, they landed on the planet Kentuckian, and and there was a whole bunch of that stuff. So yeah, to me, it's and I'm kind of reserving judgment on it until I get the chance to see it again. We went and saw it in IMAX 3D. I'm half convinced that part of my issue with the movie was the fact that we saw it in IMAX 3D.
And I saw it the next day in 2D with my kids. And we sat up close.
Yeah.
Like the first section front row, besides not the floor, but
right.
and it was a better experience.
See, because with the IMAX 3D, like every single one of the space scenes, the ships wound up looking like toys. And it just kind of like ripped me right out of the whole suspension of disbelief thing. I'm like, that just looks obviously fake.
I just think it's amazing that they brought the glorious Emperor Ming into the first sequence. And I was like, Gordon's alive! And like Tulio hit me in the ribs, and I'm like, you can't. I hate sitting next to people that don't let you talk during movies.
Oh yeah, because
what's wrong with them?
Oh yeah, because we were babbling. But I was hitting Tad with shit the entire time. So I mean,
Clytus, I'm bored.
Clytus, I'm bored. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting movie. Like it's very much, you can tell, supposed to be A New Hope of this new sequence.
Think about Think about what you had to do, what you had to accomplish as J.J. Abrams. You have us, the people that went there as 5-year-old children, right, and now they're taking our children, like our fathers before me,
that were frothing at the mouth, ready to hate it and him, and yeah.
You have the 25-ish-year-old crowd who episode 1, 2, 3. It. Yeah, no, but they had to catch up to 4, 5, 6 because they saw 1, 2, 3 in the theater, as teenagers or whatever. And now you have the 10-year-olds, the kids that saw all the everything on VHS, then on DVD, then the redos.
I'm pretty sure if they're 10, they only saw DVDs.
They could have saw it. I don't know if they got cheap parents.
Betamax.
But you think about
it's a Laserdisc, man.
Who you had to appease. That's what I said. They go, Bob, what'd you think of the movie? And I said, the 42-year-old fanboy goes, they could have done, and they could have, and they could have. But the 15-year-old kid in me was like, ee! Like it was great.
Wait, what was the 50-year-old?
Don't isolate that.
Don't isolate.
But it was. Nothing's perfect.
No,
but God damn it, it was close to perfect as you could humanly expect someone to do.
I didn't walk out swearing or instantly hating it.
Nothing in there made you hate anything.
Right. Nothing. Well, unless you're Tad.
Right.
Yeah, Tad and his brother.
Tad and his brother destroyed it.
So was that playing it too safe then? So if you walked out and didn't hate anything, was it so safe that it was not?
No,
hateable?
I mean, there are some things that again, without getting into too many details, to be nice to people, like the first half hour of the movie is very much, hey, you've seen this before, that means you're gonna like this. Hey, you've seen this before, you're probably gonna like this too. Hey, you've seen this. Then like the next half hour is very, hey, look how cool our writers are. Here's a one-liner quip. 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 And that got a little like, and Bob was, saying, oh, well, they did that in all the movies, and they did. But like if you go back and watch the older ones, they have like maybe 4 or 5 sprinkled throughout the movie, not like 20 in a row.
Yeah, like Leia chirping at Han in Empire. It was like a common theme, but then they made everyone be.
Yeah, everyone had their witty one. I'm not going to lie. Droid, please. It was still one of my favorite. But no, I mean they did a good job. I mean they.
Justin, you're dying to hop in. You're like you got
no. Well, like so, I have to agree. Like there was a lot of stuff that, without like going crazy. There's a lot of stuff that was totally replayed, but. So I had a conversation, right? So I'm in my late 30s, and I went with a guy who brought his kid, who's 8, mine's only 2, so he couldn't go. Or I could have taken him, and everybody hated me, right? But but so like we went
into the midnight showing,
right? Into the midnight showing, like right opening night, and been like I ruined it. Right. But no, I mean I think there was a part of me that I was like I think. He, being JJ, strived so hard to make it true to the original trilogy that we all know in such a way that I was like, I felt like he kind of did it justice, and that's what someone said. Like, I think you needed to almost throw in more quips because, like, today people are so used to that banter, you almost hated it. But I said I thought the movie did a reverse play on a traditional Disney. Right? You go to a Disney movie, it's geared towards kids, and they throw in the little jokes that are geared for the adults.
Well, thank God they had no like. The fart joke or the toilet humor,
But this was the reverse. Like, it was a movie for adults where I felt like they threw in the quips so the kids would be able to play along, but I felt like the jokes were actually meant for those of us that saw the movies and, like, really lived them.
I mean, he dropped the ball hard on one instance. And I don't think this is a spoiler. I'm going to jump into it. Finn lightsaber dueling with a Jedi.
She died
in 3 seconds, if not 2,
and 40 people after that. Right?
Wait, what?
How do you master the Force in 3 minutes of movie time? Because there wasn't even like downtime light speed, right? Like it's just like, hey man, we're here, right? Normally we take a nap and play some chess.
No. And now I've got a lightsaber in my hand, and hey, I'm going to go ahead and fight.
Right.
a guy who's allegedly a Sith Master Lord.
And do I
dude.
have the Force? Don't I have the Force? Like, if you don't have the Force and you touch
do I just have
lightsabers,
do I just have
chop your
migraines?
arm off?
Do I-
Like, because you're like,
No, I was waiting for like, oh wait, shit, it's Lando and Leia's kid, like,
Right.
Double dipping.
we did.
see?
Han did tell Lando to take care of her.
Right.
Well,
Right, that's what
while
I'm
he
saying.
was away.
well, that's why the bottom of the lightsaber said badass.
BAMF on the bottom.
Mace Windu came back, and then
Could have been Mace's too. No, but they did. For the nostalgia market, I think they did. I heard a funny thing today that they thought the big guy from Heroes, the X-wing pilot,
Matt,
was Porkin's kid. Like they should have played that one.
Well, that was one of the things that was like I wondered how they got away with a few of those casting things because I mean like he's. I don't know if he's really well known, but I mean he's fairly well known from Heroes and a few other things he's done. By and large, I mean it was they tried to go back to the kind of an unknown, no-name cast.
I had to go to the cast because the one I don't know if you
the voice.
The Asian. I know the voice.
Yeah.
Right away. No Country for Old Men. I knew that as soon as it happened from Kylo Ren. There was an Asian guy that was on like with Admiral Akbar and everything. And it drove me nuts who he was.
Yeah.
And it's the guy from Lost.
That's who.
Yeah.
That'd be
So I was
crazy.
like, I had to go through the cast. Then as I'm going through the cast, Daniel Craig is a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Like you dirty.
And
son of
he
a
denied
bitch.
it. Like he got really angry when people questioned him.
But he's on
he
the
was like,
credits
"No,
now."
why would I ever be an extra in a movie? Are you kidding?" No, it was totally a play. Right? They were film inspector. They're like, "Yeah."
Jonah
we're gonna show up.
Friedlander was in the cantina as a character,
Yep.
apparently.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot
It
of
was
like
a who's who.
Like, hey JJ, throw me in that bitch. Like
It was like
you know,
Sesame Street. Everybody gets a chance
Right,
to be
right.
on. Like, yeah, throw him in.
I'm friends with the producer. Get me on the set. You know,
It's cool.
Yeah, I don't need to say George Clooney as the dog on South Park back in the day. You know?
Yeah.
Just give me a role. Just let me do something.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I did. And of course, I mean, it is the number one opening of all time. It blew away Jurassic World. It beat that.
That movie sucked ass anyway. What a waste of a $6 rental on each. Good God, was that awful. Right.
I watched it on a plane and I figured
It was horrible.
It was. There's this whole thread on Reddit this week about movies that could be just 5 minutes long if the actors didn't make one mistake. And instead of driving that little freaking ball out into the middle of the area where they weren't supposed to, the movie could have been over in 5 minutes. I mean, the whole thing was like,
what an awful movie that was.
No, so I do. So one of the reverse trolls that happened that I loved on Facebook, and this was floating around, was the idiot who, speaking of spoilers, was so happy because he got his midnight showing tickets, and announced, he posted the photo and announced to all his friends that he's going to start posting spoilers immediately, and he's going to ruin the experience for everybody. And somebody points out, "Hey, dumbass, your tickets are for the noon showing on Friday, not midnight." And he was like, "No, it says 12 p.m." And they were like, "Yeah, that's noon Friday, not the midnight show."
That's awesome.
And he proceeds to have a meltdown because, he can't go to the noon
raged
showing
hard.
because there's work.
Right.
Because he's got a job. And he's like, and I gave my boss one, let me have it off. And people were just like totally mocking him and like went back and spoiled the shit out of it on his Facebook thread for him. So
my favorite was like, I will pay you twice what you paid for your ticket. I'm like, how generous. She'll give me $30 for my ticket to Star Wars.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. They just set this franchise up. We're going to be having to go once a year to see this goddamn masterpiece.
Well, so and that was that link that I
for the
shot
next 15
you.
years.
Well, no.
Every Apple phone.
Did you read that? So that link I shot, the Building the Star Wars Universe.
Yeah.
We're not going to be alive to see the last Star Wars movie if Disney has their way. I mean, they've got this mapped out a long time.
Well, the next movie, there's one coming out
Rogue
next
Squadron.
year, Rogue Squadron, and then episode
8 comes out, and then the Han Solo backstory,
and then 9, and then
Some
Boba Fett.
Netflix release or something.
Do you think people will like keep their attention from it? I mean, will people keep
we
going
go
to
see
these?
we go see the stupid Avengers movie
I
every
was gonna
6
say,
months.
so they're trying to pull a Marvel and they're trying to split.
Yeah.
So I heard a little bit about it, but I didn't dive into it because I was like, whatever. So they're gonna try to pull a Marvel. Marvel's kind of doing it and interlacing some interesting stories and doing some crazy character development.
So is DC.
Yeah,
Justice League. They're gonna run Justice League. Once they run Justice League, then they're gonna be fine for the next 10 years.
As long as they do it right.
Right. And that's the thing.
Well, that's always the
I'm looking at the
caveat.
movies that are coming out. It's like, you have to be that in order to get anyone to come see. Like, I was joking. We walked in the theater and they were like, 4 for Alvin and the Chipmunks, please. You know, like it was like, you guys are stupid.
I checked in to say we were seeing Mary Poppins.
Sisters is sold out. What? Like,
we're out of here. What are we gonna watch?
Right. But I mean, well, think of the last time we had that movie going experience. It was episode 3. Like it doesn't.
Oh, and can we? Oh, let's talk for a second about the goddamn movie theater process for a moment, shall we?
Wait, what?
Where you stand in line for an hour to get the cup, so that you can go stand in line for an hour at the stupid machine to get you. Like, why are the minimum wage kids behind the counter no longer pouring my Coke? Like, how did that happen? That now I'm waiting in 2 giant ass lines to get my soda.
Imagine doesn't do that. That was just AMC.
It's the skill of the minimum wage kids. That's the problem.
I'm pretty sure Skippy McZitzevich could pour me a Coke.
But it's one step away, right? It's one step away from where you'll swipe, and you're going to get whatever card you want, and then you can get unlimited.
And
right?
I'd have
Which
been
means
better with that.
Eliminate those jobs.
I'd have been better with no one behind the counter. Swipe my card, little robot arm hands out my popcorn and my soda cup, and then I get it.
You already got the recliner chairs. Why don't you just have the button you hit? You get to pick what you want, right? The cup comes up. Just give me the straw, right? Give me the disposable straw. I plug it in. The syrup, all the stuff just comes right there.
And I put a toilet bowl in the seat while you're at it.
Yes.
Just
And Gretchen,
and when you pull your
went
pants
back
out
for
and sit down and just
3 refills. Gretchen went back for 3 refills of her.
How? She's like this tall.
Well,
She's like this big. Would she just manic?
Ladder of an
She just,
F-150.
you know, she just was like, okay, I'm going to hurry up and get my 3rd refill. And Bob says, "What? How many refills? I don't know. 2. I don't know. I don't care."
Did she get out of the bathroom for the rest of it?
No, again, like here's the thing though. Like AMC, it's not assigned seating. If you go to Imagine, it's assigned seating. So we had to get there 3 hours before the show to throw our jackets down. Thank God AMC opened up a bar, because otherwise we would have been like, now what do we do?
Oh no, I'd have been hunting down high school kids again in that theater, and we'd have been walking across to B-Dubs.
Yeah,
That's exactly what would have happened. But yeah, so that was nice that they had a bar there. But yeah, the whole process of standing in the big ass long line to go get in the other big ass long line, it was an AMC. For the love of Christ, if anyone there is listening, you suck so hard for making that a painful experience.
And then charging $6 for it too, right?
Six.
I mean, I went to a matinee.
Oh, for the movie? It was $13.
But I'm talking for a Coke.
Do you know what I'm talking about? They got the like when you go to Five Guys, and they got the Coke machines where you have like 192 different flavors.
Oh yeah.
So they have like.
Oh, the best part was none of them worked.
Sitting there.
Right.
And none of them worked. Oh my god.
And Tad frozen machines, right? Like,
Yeah. Tad went through 3 of the different machines trying to find cherry Coke because they were all out. Oh, we're absolutely cranky, irritable. Like, get the hell off my lawn.
Get off my mic.
With you kids, with your rap music and your things.
When I was
and
your
your
age, they just poured us a Coke and we were happy.
Right? I was happy. I would have been happy
once
with
a
the
month
Coke from
could
the
you get
kid.
Coke. You couldn't afford the Coke every
Right.
time, right?
We were just happy they had Coke and Diet Coke and like Dr. Pepper, and that was it.
When I was your
I
age,
think for 2,000% like upcharge on popcorn that they'd be able to make this work.
You would think so.
Right? You'd think. You know what? If you're going to put that many pop machines in, put one just outside the door of the theater.
No, but then they give you a garbage bag of popcorn, and you can only put butter on the top half-inch layer. And after you get through the top half-inch layer, the rest of it sucks.
Right? Because it was 3 weeks ago when they popped it, right?
That's all I have.
So I need layer, butter, layer, butter, layer, butter.
Have you ever been in a movie theater when they're getting ready to close? They move all that popcorn into garbage bags. They pack it up.
Oh, yeah.
That's the popcorn for the next day. Absolutely.
No, just hand me one of those
down.
like squeezed ketchup bottles.
Hands down. 1,000% minimum upcharge, right? And they still put it in garbage bags and hold it for the previous night and dump it back.
By the way, can we segue real quick and talk about Steve Harvey, you glorious bastard?
Talk about
Harvey.
Talk about faux pas.
The greatest dreams. If you're not familiar, if you've been living under a rock, Miss Universe yesterday.
Bob was watching it, by the way.
Is he watching it live?
Oh, you saw it live?
No, I
watched it for 5 minutes.
Before they announced the winner, I changed it. So what he does, if you don't know what I'm talking about,
I'm really sorry, but I made a mistake.
He crowns Miss Columbia, and the place is going nuts. He goes like, "Ooh, wait!"
Oh, and then comes back like 45 seconds later. He goes, "All right, this is my fault.
Survey says I was wrong."
So what? So
he has to give the. So yeah, Miss Philippines is the real winner,
but nobody voted for her.
But here's the thing. Now he's the most hated person on Twitter. He's getting.
Oh my god! But have you seen some of the tweets? It's amazing.
The ones I saw were like, I was afraid to be a human.
It was like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen on television.
Oh
yeah, because poor Miss Columbia just standing there waiting for them to come take her crown off of her head.
Hold on. So me and Dave were pre-gaming at Detroit Applebee's.
Pre-gaming
for the show.
For
tonight.
And I dropped the bomb, and I said, it's Nuri. I go, I'm calling it right now. Fake. All of it. Who would have been talking about Miss Universe today if it wasn't for Steve Harvey's glorious F-up? Nobody. 0.0 people. So now, here comes Steve Harvey, and now there's this the world is united beyond, like...
It's the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction.
Thank you. No one would have been talking about Janet Jackson, nothing.
It's Steve Harvey is the nipple ring, right? That's
correct.
What this is.
He is like...
He's the plant.
Steve Harvey
is
ring.
the nipple of 2015.
Right.
That's good to know.
I think the way advertising, if you've been following South Park, and they become self-aware, and they know this kind of shit.
Yeah. So Steve Harvey's an ad?
Right. Right. And they say, who's Steve Harvey anyway? You're doing Family Feud, for the love of Christ. Really? Like, you're doing Miss Universe, like you couldn't get Neil Patrick Harris for, Doogie.
It wasn't China. I don't know that I would have wanted to go to China.
I don't care.
So as Donald Trump said, if I was running this thing, this wouldn't have happened.
I was just going to say, right? What's Trump's response, right? This is why you got to come to the Miss, whatever.
Doesn't he own that one?
No, that's the one he sold out of.
Oh. See, now they bought it for a lot of money. They want the publicity.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's what happened. So like he bought out NBC and NBC Universidad or whatever it is, the Mexican version of it.
Eurovision.
Sábado Gigante Internacional. So he bought them out and then turned around. He goal, and then he turned around and sold it to IMG Entertainment or something like that. So you're right. It's kind of like Disney going, oh shit, we just paid George Lucas what?
Right.
So yeah, we're gonna have Star Wars oranges.
Oranges and
yeah.
apples
So
and grapes.
yeah. So it might have been IMG going, all right, Steve, we're gonna give you an extra $1 million to be the most hated man on the planet and have Colombian death squads coming after you. Here's what you're going to do.
Right.
But the best tweet I saw, I was cruising through Mashable looking at everything, and they're like, oh my God, Twitter went insane after this. And the best tweet I saw was, who will never be invited to host a live television broadcast again? Survey says Steve Harvey.
Right. But actually I went and looked up Steve Harvey today, and there's a YouTube video called Shit Steve Harvey Says. If anyone would have watched that, they would have known he should have never been anywhere near a live microphone.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
He was a comedian for the longest time before Family Feud, and he always said outlandish
Family
shit.
Feud's like porn now for crying out loud. Have you watched it?
Hey ladies, come here, give me a little kiss real quick. All right.
It always was. Dawson was.
Things that you find out when you unzip your pants. 5 surveys on the board. Like, what?
If you look at the old episodes, I was just watching one with Jen, and she's like, watch Dawson. He kisses everyone.
No, he makes out. He makes out with the grandmas. Like, he was like...
Come here, ladies.
Yeah, 15-year-old girls. Oh, yeah, come here. Give me some tongue. Oh, Dawson was I don't know how he didn't get arrested for that shit.
It was the 80s.
He had a good PR guy.
Oh, he absolutely did. But what the hell's... Oh, I got nothing. I was going to close out with something about Miss Universe. But yeah, anyway.
Pudding pop?
Complete. Exactly.
See, I wondered, though, they talked to each other, right? They went and whispered in each other's ear, and I was wondering what they were saying. The loser came up and she said to Miss Columbia's ear, she whispered something in her ear, and I was like, Hail Hydra is the only thing I could come up with what she said.
Nice.
Hail Hydra. Yeah. Anyway.
I told you I'd get you, Beach.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with Billy Strotter from Social Coop Media. This is the IT in the D Show, and we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
I don't even subscribe.
Welcome back. Segment 2, live from Podcast Detroit. This is the IT in the D Show. We're at episode 123. Hanging out, beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy.
No one listens when I say there's time left.
I don't listen. That's Dave the Geek.
How many times in your life do you hear you never listen? But how many times does he hear you never listen?
This week, today, this afternoon, after 3 p.m.
Nuri, the FNG's to my right. Find us online, itthed.com. Give us a like on the Twitter. Follow us on the Facebook. Or the other way around, whichever.
However that works. Wherever you go, we are all things IT in the D.
And our complete mark your calendars because our 2016 calendar is full and booked.
We got a couple of good events downtown. We got a couple of good events out in the burbs.
Two at Firebird, 2 at Hopcat, 2 at Majestic, 2 at 3 at Blackfin, 2 at Hamlin Corner, 1 at Falling Down.
Yeah, we've already got our Christmas event for next year booked.
Right.
But no, we get 2 Pink Slip parties again. We'll be, I think it's March 10th and September 15th, if I recall correctly, because we're not doing an event on St. Patrick's Day.
No.
We're just not. That's not going to happen. Third Thursday in March is St. Patrick's Day. That wasn't going to happen.
Let's say that sounds like a good way to kill a bunch of talent here in Detroit. Forever.
Welcome to the Pink Slip party. Here's your beer.
So what do you do?
And here's your scandal.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a green slip party.
I'm a .NET developer.
I'm looking for a job at Jameson's. Which, by the way, I got to tell you, my wife laughed really, really hard that basically you and I just swapped bottles of scotch Saturday night.
Merry Christmas. Bob, here's your present. Dave, here's your present. It's the same shit. Oh, well, drink it.
A bottle of Jameson.
He got me a bottle of Jameson. I got him a nice bottle of Glenlivet. So, yeah.
I didn't get you just a bottle of
Jameson.
No,
I said it was a nice bottle of Jameson.
Right,
I got you a nice bottle of Glenlivet. Yeah.
Classic handle.
Jug.
Mohawk. It's fine.
No, that was when me and Marcus.
Well, I also brought the obligatory 5th of Kessler because you have to. That's
because that's what I needed that night. We're talking about my annual Christmas party that I have in my house for a small group.
All the peeps.
Not all, small group of friends. Yeah. Except for Billy, he didn't want to show up.
He was family Christmas.
I don't care about your family.
and Bob was good this year. There was not a shot had until 11 o'clock.
I signed a vow.
What? No,
I signed a vow.
At the Star Wars show when we were at the movie, Tad looks at Bob because last year was a bit of a mess. 4 of us carried Bob up to bed at 10:30.
I know
last
nothing
year
about ever doing that.
Yeah, I know. We have no recollection of those events, Your Honor. And so we were sitting there at the bar at the theater, and Tad goes, "You are." Looks at Bob's going, he's like, "You are not to do a shot before 11 o'clock." And Bob was like, "All right, I'm in." So, and sure, now granted, he was looking.
Now, how many shots did you do at 11 o'clock?
Now,
you have no idea.
So between 11:01 and 11:30, I believe there were 12.
That's good work. You had to catch up.
It was this amazing bottle of German raspberry schnapps. It was one of the best shots I ever had.
It was very, very good.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. So, Billy Strauder's in the house, by the way.
Yep, I didn't bring my gas mask today.
Wait, what happened when you carried me up the stairs that one year? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
It's for another day over a beer.
Yeah.
But Billy, you are the founder, the chief,
our social media correspondent. See,
of Social Coop Media.
There you go.
But no, you've been with us for a very long time. Obviously, a familiar voice. How's everything going?
Everything's great, man. It's been an interesting year, a little challenging. We've grown from 3 to 14.
Oh,
so
nice.
We've added a lot of people, and it's just trying to figure out what it's like to lead, to be an entrepreneur, and run the day-to-day operations of a business. It's but for sure, it's been a good time.
Well, 14. I mean, so I guess let's get into that real quick. That's now it's a company.
Yeah.
Not saying 3 isn't, but I mean,
now you have to have an HR department, though, right?
Respect to the entrepreneurs out there,
Yeah, but I mean,
you're a little more real now.
A little more real. Yeah.
Have you gone from being tactical strategic, or is it never gonna be the same?
No, it's never going to be the same. It was what was the fun things that we did when there were 3, and then when we went to 5. That's gone. It's just there's a lot more structure, and so
And is that is a piece of you dying because that's happening?
Yes.
You didn't want to work for the man, and now you are the man.
Yeah, so that's kind of odd to have that flip. And then, people looking at you and asking you lots of questions, and you're like, wait, go ask that guy. And you're like, oh that's
crap, I am that guy.
Well, I guess that's the beauty of, it's not the wild, wild west, but social media, it's still not defined. So, I mean, in terms of coming up with you're looking at me confused, but it's still, people still don't know. There's not a textbook. There's not anything saying this is what you must do. Everybody does their way. They do it differently, right? So when you're sitting in front of a customer, obviously you got to take what they do and kind of build something custom, which kind of makes your life difficult, right? I mean, how do you go about, I guess, developing a plan for a customer? Is it strictly on budget? Is it strictly on what they want to accomplish?
What's it going to cost? How much you got?
Yeah, exactly.
No, what's it going to how much you got?
How many clicks am I going to get?
How many tweets per week?
Yeah. In the early days, it was very much like that. It was, companies would come to us and say, all right, so how many tweets do we get for this dollar amount? And that's just not how it works. And so we spent a lot of time, what we ask for is a month for us to go in, dig deep, and to understand the company culture, what the company is about. Because if you're going to manage social media for someone, you need to be able to understand what their voice is.
Well, if you're going to be their online personality, you need to understand their personality.
Yeah. And so when you look at, companies that are doing it for, $150 and we're going to manage your social media, to me, I just don't understand how you're doing it, because just seeing the amount of time and effort that goes into trying to find content every day.
Right.
If you're sending one tweet a day, that doesn't do anything, because you have different Twitter users that are using Twitter at different times of the day, right? And, Facebook is constantly changing their algorithm, so that's always fun. And so we're just constantly learning and then taking a look at new platforms that are coming out and what role they play. And not every platform, it's not one size fits all.
So what's the benefit, would you say, of I've got Glenda, who's worked for me for 20 years. Why would I hire out my social media presence instead of having Glenda do it, for instance?
Well, I can't answer that question because I haven't looked at what Glenda has done for you.
Glenda doesn't know how to use a computer, okay? Glenda has just no idea.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, a lot of times, you'll find that, if a company may have one social media manager. And that social media manager, because people, so you have the executives that are like, I don't really know what you do all day, so I'm going to assign you with these tasks and these tasks. And so eventually social media is one of those things that's on the back burner, but they know that they need to do it. And so they end up outsourcing it to a company like Social Coop, because instead of just having one person manage it, you now have a team of people helping you manage it, and you don't have to put all of that cost into hiring a bunch of people to build out your own department.
Well, I look at even like what IT and the D does, right? It's me and Dave. And we have 14,000 followers on Twitter, like 8,000 on Facebook. And we don't know why, and we don't know what we do. And we still don't know what to do. It's nothing against what me and Dave do. Like, we'll post a link every now and then. There's no strategy. It's like, that's a funny meme. Let's put that on Facebook. Like, here's a stupid link. Let's put that on the Twitter. Here's something we did. Let's put that on the whatever.
Right. We have an event. Here's the event.
Yeah, but the thing is that
you guys, a reason to it.
But what I've always told you is that you guys are authentic to who you are. And that's what your audience continues to follow you for, and that's why it continues to grow. You're not trying to be anything other than who you are.
Well, we're not Taco Bell. Right, and I think that's different when you're right. We're launching the Gordita Crunch, the IT and the D Gordita Crunch.
You got the cheese.
2016.
We're going to send burner phones to people and give them stupid missions to take on.
TacoBell.com/IT, and that's uppercase.
We swear. Justin, we swear that's how this podcast blew up. It's because we were getting crap for traffic, and then we had the guy in that got a phone. He wasn't just a normal guy. And we talked about the Taco Bell phone.
Well, and we kept tweeting at them all through the show about how stupid their shit was, and they kept retweeting it.
They'll respond to stuff. Like, there's a guy that'll be like, hey, your Taco Bell was great. It gave me diarrhea. And they're like, that's awesome. Please come back. Right. I mean, like, there's hilarious stuff. They just
let's do it again.
They're like, yeah, this will go viral. But people talk about Taco Bell, right? Or Doritos.
I wonder if Applebee's will retweet what happened to me after I just ate their food. Jesus Christ. No, but I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think the discovery part, I mean, you just kind of hit the nail on the head. That's the essential part, because, if you're going to manage the IT and these social, if you have no idea who me and Dave are, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna throw out links just blindly and not have any idea.
Right. I'm just going to spend all my days on Mashable and just sharing stuff that nobody cares about. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is old school marketing and just digging deep and doing the research and understanding who your audience is, where they spend their time, and what they're interested in.
But I think a lot of it too is engagement. It's a lot of things where people fall off. Like there's a metric now on Facebook on our page saying your response time is a minute. You got the big green, and we respond quickly.
Wow. Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Woo.
But that's the thing though. If you are posting to people's social or tweeting them and they're not responding, what's the point?
Yeah, and I'm not saying anything that you guys haven't heard me say before, but the big thing that I always preach is that companies tend to take social out of social media, and they use it as a PR channel or strictly as a marketing channel.
Yeah, they use it like an email blast.
Right, exactly. And that's the great thing about what Taco Bell does, and that's why they continue to grow. And that's why, the struggle for Twitter is that you have a lot of companies that are just blasting information out, but then when someone reaches out and says, hey, I've had this issue, no one answers. Crickets. Right? It's nothing but crickets. And so
think about when you go to one of our networking events, right? You got two people. One that says, "Hey, how you doing? Talk to me. How's the weather? You see the Lions game?" Yeah. Then you got another guy going, "I work for this company. Buy my shit." And again, it's
right. Wait, how does that go?
I'm not going to do it again.
Right.
I'm not going to do it again.
No, it was painful enough the first time.
Right, I meant it to be painful. No, because the one guy, how's the line? You're going to talk to him. You're going to engage. The other guy is just like, you're just commercial, right? Like, get the hell away from me.
Right.
And that's 9 times out of 10 when you're seeing crap out there. There's a sponsored post on Facebook. Right. There's nothing engaging about them.
Yeah. And then even with those sponsored posts, people will ask a question, and even as silly as it is, you'll list in a sponsored post where the event is, what time it happens, a link to the address, and they're like, where's the event? What time does it? Yeah. And companies won't respond, but we make sure that for our clients that we go through and we respond to all of those posts, because the engagement part is what makes it social media.
Well, I mean, you look at the things that happened to Target, right? I mean, there's all those fake Target ads. The guy who created the fake Target account.
Yeah.
There were still lots of legitimate posts to Target's real Facebook.
Right.
And they had a social media department that went through and actively responded to all of those things in good, funny, humorous, brand appropriate ways.
Right.
Right. That was an opportunity that they completely took advantage of.
I agree, and every time someone posts on your page, that's an opportunity to keep someone. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's just out of frustration because they've tried calling your 800 number, or they've
you have one of those stupid voice recognition systems.
Yes.
Hi, thanks for calling your company.
Yeah, exactly.
Press 1.
I want to kill every company that has one of those.
And then you press 0, and they're like, no, you need to press another number.
I hate them.
Kill the source.
But Billy, out of curiosity, how much of what you do you think is shepherding people through a customer service experience with your clients?
No, it's a great question. What started out with social media is we were really focused on content marketing and writing content and generating content, but we've really spent a lot more time. We've seen a shift to social media being more customer service centric, where people are reaching out trying to get answers to their questions because they just can't find it elsewhere.
Well, I think that's the beauty of socials. You think you have a voice. Like if I'm flying Delta.
You think you have a voice. I like how you said that, Bob. You think you have a voice.
Come on. If you email info@delta.com, you know it's going into not even a black hole. It's going into like a carnivorous, like there's nothing. There's nothing on the other end of info@delta.com. But if you tweet at Delta and going, the guy in front of me farted, can I move my seats? You expect the stewardess to come down that aisle in 30 seconds and move your seat. I mean, that's how people have become accustomed.
The pilot to ding, customer in 16D.
Exactly.
But I go back to, I think, Dave's email between the three of us back in, 2008 or 2009, where you were completely and utterly appalled by this woman that was using Twitter as a launch pad for a negative experience with Swatch. And
well, number one, I was appalled that it was 2009 and someone still gave a shit about Swatch. and then nice. And then number two.
No, but I mean, it's a credit to how far social has come, right? And just the attention it's given now, right? I mean, Billy, no offense, but I don't think you would have been able to fire something like this up back in 2007, 2008.
right?
Yeah, no. We so Social Coop has really been around much longer than our official paperwork shows. We started right around 2008, and so it's just been a long journey to where
but
companies
that's the
now look at it.
right?
Exactly, that has been the evolution of social. And we've switched from we've made the shift from just being a social media company to a digital marketing agency. So we think of digital as like the overarching, and then you have content marketing, then email marketing, and then web development. And social media falls in there at some point. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just tying it all together, making sure that, we understand what's going on with the traditional marketing and what your PR team is doing so that it all works together.
Well, I had to laugh today. I was on Reddit. We were just talking about it earlier. And I was on the entrepreneur subreddit, and someone was talking about SEO. And everyone had their opinion on SEO. And it's all about the HTML tags, man. And I just sat there and I'm like, this is probably one of the dumbest conversations I've ever had. And we talk about that for some of the other podcasts that are on Podcast Detroit with us. And I said, do you have a website? Are you writing content? Right? And we'll know. Well, that's just another way for you to attract people is the more content you write, the more things you get out, and the more, it's not about the stupid meta tags. It's about being relevant and writing and always
giving people a reason to come back.
Right,
Agreed.
Right. Bringing some value, right? If you have a show like us doing Yuck Yuck, at least have a decent blog that says have some decent content.
That at least
to read. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Yuck Yuck is good. I mean,
we all need it.
Yeah. We all need Yuck Yuck.
Right.
So we just we had a conversation with a company a while back, and we recommended them writing a blog. And they're like, "Well, all of that content exists." And I'm like, "Yeah, it exists for people that are targeting someone in their own area." But Google takes into account where your search is coming from.
Right.
And so why would you not write for your audience? Why would you just share content from someone that wrote it out in California when you're located in Michigan? So that's, it doesn't hurt for you to create additional content just because it's already out.
Well, and even if you're just, rewriting or restating or, using that as a foundation for something that you write on your own, I mean, it's the internet. I mean, it's none of the blog entries that we've written are all, 100% original.
Yeah, but you bubble them up, which is a great tactic and another strategy to do. To maintain relevancy.
Right.
We can only write so many blogs. You know what I'm saying? We got 140 odd Don't Be That Guy entries. We can't keep writing. There's only so many assholes in town we can keep writing about.
Surrounded by assholes.
But for the most part, Dave will take an old one and bubble it up, and it becomes almost as relevant then as it was now.
Exactly. I mean, content that you have that you own that sits on your blog is a gift that keeps on giving.
Yep.
Right? I mean, I can look at content that I wrote 4 years ago that continues to drive traffic to my website and is still relevant, and you can even do an update.
Well, and there's shit that I forgot I wrote. Dude, it just happened with the whole the guy that sent random guy that sent an email in. Hey, I'm starting up something that you do. Can you go ahead and put a link out there for me to help me out?
Can you tell me about this? Because I saw I saw a headline of your rant.
So literally, we get an email in through the Podcast Detroit inbox where random guy that we don't know, we've never met this guy before, I have no idea who he is, just sends this note in. And he's like, "Hey, I'm starting up a podcast network. Can you put a link over to my site for me?" And I'm like, and so and I don't reply because the four replies, the four times I started to reply, all started with WTF. Right. And I was like, I shouldn't. And then I saw that Bob replied, and I'm like, okay, good. And Bob was like, well, hey, yeah, every now and then we do link exchanges where it makes sense. We've done one with Art of Charm. Those guys are great. Similar kind of audiences, similar kind of numbers. It makes sense. What is your expectation here? And he was like, oh, well, I just thought that, you would put a link out and help me out. And I was like, are you high? By all means, stranger, yeah, let us put all of our resources that we've built over the past years at your disposal. Please let us do that.
One of the things we thought we created a great niche, and I think more companies need to do this, is when people would ask questions like, when's your event tonight? And instead of like simply writing out, it's at Blackfin 5 o'clock, see you there, we would take a screenshot of our website and then screenshot of the meetup and a screenshot of Twitter, and we put red arrows and we'd make a big mural picture, go right here at MS Paint, and then we'd email them that.
Find me here.
But that's like what you said, though, right? They're being themselves. Like you don't want to lose that either, right? I mean, you want to keep that. Like if you lost that edge,
we're never going to not be snarky. We can't.
No,
we never start a real company because we're too. It is what it is.
Right.
Well, it's like the guy who got mad about the blood moon thing.
Oh my God.
On Facebook. And wrote us a note that he was never coming to another one because we put when the blood moon so I found an image with the moon with like a red bandana
with the Pac bandana on it
and the whole and posted it. I was like best image of the blood moon ever, and this guy shot an email off that he was never coming to our events ever again.
So he was a crip.
It's
fine.
We're promoting gang behavior.
Listen,
it's so insensitive.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
So I mean, like I guess that's the point that Billy's trying to get to is that it is. I mean, that's us. And
Billy, was that the point you were trying to get to?
It wouldn't be us if we didn't do that nonsense.
I'll say yes.
You can't think now. He's periscoping.
That's right. He's meerkatting.
Oh, meerkatting.
I do the social medias.
You got to spread the wealth. Billy, how do we find you? We're coming up against break. How do we? You're always at the events. You're a mainstay with what we do. But where do we find you at online?
Yeah, at Social Coop Media.
That's
and
COOP,
that's
right?
COOP across the interwebs. And if you want to follow me personally, same.
Okay,
Bob. And then at BJ Strawter, STRAWTER. If you want to follow me
on the Instagrams or on the Twitters,
on all of the things.
Yes, perfect. Billy, always a pleasure seeing you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Are you kicking me out now? Or can I stay?
No,
please stay. Please stay.
We still got segment 4. We're going to need to.
We still got segment 3. That was segment 2.
No. Oh, yeah. We got Justin for segment 3.
I'm just saying.
And there will never, ever be a segment 4 again.
I can leave. It's cool.
No. Hang on tight. Hang on tight for we got Justin from Brainiac Developers for segment 3. This is the IT and the D show, and we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com. This is a previously recorded episode of the IT and the D Show.
Welcome back live from Podcast Detroit. This is the IT and the D Show, segment 3, episode 123. Can you believe we made it this far? We are.
I can.
We're hanging out.
You're the one who bet against us.
I always bet on Bob. We're live in Ferndale, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy. Always here with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG's in the house. Find us online, itandthed.com. Give us a like on the Facebook. Follow us on the Twitters. Hit us up on Instagram /itandthed. And Dave's waving his phone around because like you just don't care. Maybe on the Periscope. I have no idea what's going on anymore. And then we got a couple apps if you're on Android or iOS. Podcast Detroit, listen to all the shows live, and mark your calendars because 2016 is full third Thursday, except for a couple days where it doesn't make sense, like St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, exactly. We're not doing that at all.
But other than that, we had a couple guests drop. We had a couple guests come in last minute. We really appreciate it. Justin, you've been awesome on the Star Wars tip. Let's talk about your day job. So you on the Star Wars tip,
just the tip. Yeah, boy. Lightsaber.
Only the tip.
Just for 30 minutes. I watched Swingers over the weekend. That's one of the
that happens.
Get the one-liners.
How about these numbers?
Yeah, I know exactly. Brainiac Developers. So talk to me. You know a couple good one-liners you had when we were kind of introducing ourselves, talking about hey, I ventured off doing my own business now. And we're trying to change the game a little bit. So, I mean, what's it like, kind of quitting the day job and starting your own thing?
So,
everything I just heard from Billy makes me want to not do it.
I'm like, I made the wrong decision here. So, I mean, so I started off in IT when I was pretty young. I was about 15 years old when I first started. So I had about 15 years in the game, doing databases, networking. Started off in engineering, CAD systems, Unix, you name it. And I just reached a point where I kind of was in and out of college, not because I drank too much, but I wish that was the reason. But no, I was in and out of college, and I just was like, you know what?
if I'm going to go back and I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to do it in something I like. And so I had a bunch of people that thought it was crazy.
Theater.
So theater.
Philosophy.
So I became a thespian
Women's
with a TH,
studies.
with a TH. With women's studies, I definitely failed that. I mean, you can ask my wife, I still fail all the time. But so I was like, well, what do I want to do? I was like, well, I really liked econ, and I had like professors that were like, no, this is a horrible plan. Right, a horrible plan. Like, you got 15 years. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, well, no, I really liked it, and I really enjoyed strategy and math theory and all this other stuff. And I was like, and besides, as much as I love your classes, I've been doing it for 15 years. Right. So if I got to pay for the piece of paper, then I might as well do what I like.
You're not going to teach me punch cards, basically.
Right. Well, I mean, that was the thing. Is actually funny. One of the small pieces of IT that I never had a part in was punch cards. But I actually used cassette tapes for recording stuff. I actually am used to writing down numbers because I started when I was young, right?
Wow.
So first computer that we had, or not the first computer, but one of the first computers we had at home.
Yeah, Dave, isn't this cute? I remember my first beer too.
Right. So the Osborne Executive. A lot of people know the Osborne one, but the Osborne Executive and a lot of famous business lines and analogies or whatever. So we had an Osborne Executive at home that my brother kind of learned on. So 2400 baud. We didn't go below that, but that was kind of like the start of it all. So
he only had to wait 8 minutes for a boob to load.
Right. And that's just the first pixel of the boob. The left, it's always the left.
I learned how to 300 baud mode.
Nice.
As a 13-year-old boy on a Commodore 64.
Oh, God.
All my porn was ASCII.
You had so many hopes and dreams.
I did.
Right?
We went and had
your
lunch.
foreplay was hitting dial in,
No, as long as it answered, there was busy signals for 3 hours and it answered, then you had to wait 2 hours for the damn ASCII boob.
You always made sure when it said "you got mail," it was the female voice, so that was the first time.
You got mail. No,
this is way before that
This
nonsense.
was BBSing. This was
of course. Right?
We didn't have options like the kids today. We didn't have the internets with the porn. We had it was the 300 baud boob or it was scrambled Skinamax.
And if there wasn't a person in your local area code, you had to pay toll charges to call up, right? And then
as his dad found out.
Yeah.
I know. We wrote a freak code program.
I was going to say, right? You allegedly.
No. AT&T caught me and my dad got a $1,500 bill, and the 300 baud modem went in the garbage.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah. I may have a family member that allegedly made sure that we didn't have a bill. Allegedly.
Right.
Allegedly. Right? Maybe I learned it from
Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically. Couldn't have happened. So.
Trace it back to our house. This is garbage.
I don't know.
Trace Buster.
I know, right? I had the Captain Crunch whistle that when I blew, it should have been fine.
The good old days.
Yes. So, I mean, I had this weird cultural mix where because I had an older brother that was in it, I learned a lot early on. But then on the other hand, I just felt like growing up kind of seeing business operate that I just didn't really like the way business operated. My dad happened to work at a place that was even though it was a large global company, it had really traditional small company values that we would call today for a 3-person enterprise, right?
Right.
But they had, 300 employees, but it just felt like there were 3. And everywhere I worked, no matter what I had, I was like, oh my God, I just hate this. So I was like, all right, well, I know IT, you go back and do some business. And then I kind of got wrapped up in called a mini MBA. I basically studied everything, couple majors, couple minors, focused on international business. And I just said, you know what, that's it. I'm leaving IT. And so I left for 2 years, went and studied international politics, and almost went into global health. That's why we were in the conversation earlier. I knew about that. And went and worked in sub-Saharan Africa and did some consulting for the World Bank on some statistics and census program. And then I had friends that were like, oh, hey, while you're here, can you help these guys out with a database? And I was like, I'm not an IT guy, right?
I know nothing.
Come on, pretend, please. I didn't. And they're like, no, but we know how to do it. I was like, I just can't get away.
VCR, can't you?
Right?
Come on.
I mean, it just got crazy.
I thought I was out and they pulled me back in.
So it was just like,
Can
it couldn't
you
happen.
fix my laptop just
I mean, it was wild. It was wild. And then actually, segue, some famous hacker that lives in Uganda I met at a charity event. It was crazy. And so it just got kind of wild. And I was like, you know what? Obviously, I may love this, but I got to come back. And so I had a buddy that I worked with. We used to work at an agency. We did a lot of consulting for Fortune 10. And he's been out on his own. He kind of bounced around a couple places. He's like, come on, come back. He's like, every time I throw something at you, you can come back. I was like, I'm out of the loop. No. So I did a couple side gigs with him. And then early this year, we just said, let's just do it. And we grabbed another guy. So there's 3 of us, and we started Brainiac Developers, and literally we're primarily a .NET shop. We do a bunch of stuff, but rather than actually working with the clients we used to work with, this is going to sound a little crazy, we actually work with the people that do what the company we were at do. So you got a company that does a bunch of different things. You're not a development shop. You're a little bit of everything.
Right.
And you work with these Fortune 10 companies, and they have all these requirements, and you don't really know what to do, and you can't navigate the paperwork, and you don't.
Well, and you're never going to staff up to meet all of their needs,
and they're
that would
freaking
be,
out, right? Because they're like, okay, well, are we filling the paperwork out right? Are we lying? Are we not lying? How do we do this stuff? And so, I came into one specific place and started working with them. And in a consulting fashion, which got a little weird because to segue, we were talking about the idea of like, being your own boss. And I was telling people, I was like, no. I don't get to be my own boss anymore. Being this type of entrepreneur where it's not just me, it's a couple guys, but we're consultants. I actually have like 50 bosses, right? It's totally the office space.
Right.
I got to go to one and I got to figure out what they want. But really, I'm catering to their boss's needs, but they're the one who was my in, and then I go to the next place and it's not really for them, it's for their client. And I find out who their client is and I'm freaking out.
And what the politics are. And what
And I'm like, oh my God. One guy's like, oh, it's no big deal. We're just a warehouse. I was like, okay, we can help you out. Oh, no, your main customer is a military contractor. Let's take a step back. I'm cool working with you, but there's some things like, don't we need to fill out some paperwork? Oh, it'll be fine. No, it's
it's not really.
We're gonna pass the background checks, but let's fill out the paperwork. And like I learned basically that I had this entrepreneurial attitude, but I kept meeting these people that didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. Like they kept tripping over their own feet. Mm-hmm. So before I got involved in this, I was trying to basically coach people how to start their own business without being someone that was at an incubator coaching people for their first startup. I wasn't there to tell you how to do, funding round A, round B. I don't care about that. It's like, how do you do the basic business without screwing yourself over and then your idea falls flat? There was a woman that had this great idea in Chicago, and I was like, you just need to talk to this guy and this guy and this guy. Come here. I'll be your translator. And I realized that's actually what I was good at.
Yep.
And there just isn't enough of that. You can have the sales guy, but if the sales guy hasn't, worked a 32-hour shift doing the stuff before, he might not have an idea of how to make that translation. Whereas I didn't want to program, but my partners who are, senior .NET programmers, it was like, we don't want to deal with the client. Can you go in and get the info, but not be the sales guy.
Can you be the guy that talks to the engineers so the goddamn clients don't have to get...
Exactly. And so we actually tested this theory at the place where we worked at, and they were like, no, please don't do this. And I was like, listen, he just wants to work, right? He doesn't want to deal with this guy. And I think I know what he needs because I can talk the business aspect and I can talk the programming aspect. And if we needed an algorithm, I'd whip one up. But I didn't have to dive in and get an nitty-gritty into the code. So we kind of had this idea of why don't we try to start something sort of, I hate to use the word holistic. It's not that we're granola hippies.
Did you pivot?
I should pivot.
Did you pivot to something holistic?
Yeah.
Just checking.
and then we had
strategic move.
Throw all the Omnivarian beer.
Changed a paradigm or two. Yeah.
So I was
2004
like,
Dave.
what we got to do is we got to come in and talk to these guys and basically be like, so what do you do as a company? What are you actually doing? Like, what's your culture? Are you okay with filling out this paperwork?
What is it that you'd say that you do here?
Right. What's funny?
So you're the Bobs.
We're the Bobs, but what's crazy is Jeff and I actually just talked about this the other day is, I've worked with consultants before, and we kind of use the analogy that a lot of consultants are kind of like the whole, if you can't do, you teach. And the difference is,
there was an old either UPS or FedEx commercial that boiled down to we're like they pitch and then it's all right, yeah, that's awesome, go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
wait, we're just consultants. Right. we only propose things, we don't actually do them.
And just, here's the invoice, right? Whereas for us, they were like, well, we need you to do this stuff. So
that's why Dave hates me so much. It'll be awesome. We should do this, but I don't know how you got to do it.
Well, no, you do it. Oh God, we got to get somebody now. So it's kind of like the approach is trying to figure out how these places can get to where they need to be. And to be quite honest, some of our customers that we have were in the company that I was at in 2003 and 2004. They're at today, but they just kind of flew under the radar. And some of these Fortune 10 companies don't realize that these guys aren't up to snuff.
Right.
And it was like, okay, how do we get you where you need to be? Because you're kind of doing what you're supposed to do, but you're just missing a couple points here. And you shouldn't get in trouble for that because you're trying to do it. You just didn't figure it out, or you didn't have somebody kind of like making sure you did it the right way. And earlier we were kind of, just BSing, and it was like, all right, DevOps is a buzzword, and everybody talks about DevOps. And if you're a startup, it's really easy to use Slack and all these other tools and just get up and running. That's great. If you're an established company, that's not easy. You're either going to throw an insane amount of money at it, or you're going to try, get frustrated, and just stop. It's companies that try to go agile. They can't do it, right? And a lot of people that practice agile are like, well, you can't do it halfway. You got to go the whole way, right? And it's like, oh, sorry.
Yes, you can, actually, yeah.
But honestly, some of these companies need the in-betweeners, right? You got to be able to come in and be like, okay, we know where you're going to trend towards, but you're not going to get there tomorrow. How do we get you there so you're starting to trend in the right direction?
Yeah, you may not even get there for 2 years.
And by that, we might be using different tools. And guess what? That's okay. Because there's a general philosophy that nobody's paying attention to. That just nobody's doing because they're too focused on the micro. Okay,
which agile methodology do you use?
Do we use Kanban? Can we use Mix?
All
what
of
about
them.
Extreme programming?
Yeah,
I'm like,
you cherry pick from the from the stuff, the ones that you need, and you move
absolutely.
on.
And I was like, well, do you use source code today? Well, sometimes. So let's just start there, right? Let's just not worry about what project management method you use. Let's work in the check-in, check-out. Well, what about I don't care.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Yeah.
Let's go to the basics. So actually, that's the phrase I use. And one of my customers actually told me, he was like, at first I told you I really appreciated you coming in and not beating around the bush. And he's like, I really like the fact you just tell it to us straight. But now I'm starting to get offended. I was like, now you're listening, right? Like I was like, good.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I said this. I was like, I feel horrible telling you this.
I'm paying you to be a dick to me.
Right. And I was like,
you're doing it wrong.
I was never into the whole Dom sub, but if it gotta happen, I'm there, right? I would just forget the whip. Just get some Cat 5 cable. It'll be fine. Cat of 9E. No,
that'd be worse.
But I was just like
Cat of 9E.
Cat 9E.
I love it.
But no, I was trying to explain to him. I was like, that's how I know you're listening. And I was like, because I'm going to be really honest with you. I enjoy you. I enjoy the other people that work here. I think you got a lot of great employees, but I'm actually offended you guys are in business right now. And he's like, just look at
always
me.
goes over well.
Right. And he's like, okay. And I was like, well, I want to talk to you about
the look on Dave's face right now is actually
right? Oh, that's because because that's the kind of crap that I say, and you can always do that. And
you
gotta follow that up with something.
No, I'm just offended you're in business right now. And they're like, why? I was like, listen, you have people here that have a job that you guys write a paycheck to, right? Do you realize that could stop tomorrow because I could go grab 9 kids from Grand Rapids and throw something together and use someone else's ABC, I won't say, but let's just say this other framework thing. And, you're done. 6. I was like, I'll give you 9 months. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And you're all done.
Yep.
And they looked at me and they're like, but you don't know our business. I was like, okay, I guess, I don't know, your margin's what? Between this percent and this percent? I've never been in this industry. And they're like, they turn like gray in the face and they're like, actually, our margin's lower. I was like, oh, well, then you're really effed. Like, you probably should.
I'd like to redo those numbers.
Right. And I told him the story. It's like, my dad was a CPA, like, let's say it's 1950, right? And he goes in and he does the books for this customer that they've had for an eternity. And he goes to his boss and he's like, I looked at the books and something doesn't make sense. Like, I actually think, this guy Bill is bankrupt. And I'm like, that's not possible. We've been doing his books for years. Like, there's no way. And they look at the books like, oh, my God, we didn't calculate cash flow right. You're right. Bill should have declared bankruptcy,
2 years ago.
And they're like, but nobody paid attention because of how he handled his business. He was able to continue to operate and pay his operating costs. And I was like, it's the same concept here. You guys just aren't paying attention to the big picture. And we got to go back to the fundamentals. The idea that every piece of equipment you have, I don't care if it's computer equipment or if it's a lathe, it has a lifespan, right? And if you don't pay attention to that, you're going to get burned. And it's the same thing with software and it's the same thing with code. And you don't have to upgrade everything. You don't have to use the latest and greatest. But if you don't at least start to trend
we just talked about that last week with
fascinating.
If you're not defining life cycle management and depreciation with IT in tune with finance, right? You're doing your company a complete disservice.
Because you're not doing risk analysis.
Infrastructure is the same conversation.
Absolutely, right? So I had this company that I was talking to, and I was like, they're one of my primary clients. And I was like, here's the deal. You guys need to realize that when you're on a regular schedule, I could have pushed you, if everything you're doing was right, I could have pushed you to 4 years, maybe 5 in an emergency. I was like, but you're at 3 years, this is your regular schedule to repeat the purchases that you had. And I was like, if I add in the cost of inflation and do all this stuff, here's what the dollar amount should have been. It just so happens we came in less than dollar to dollar amount. I was like, which is a miracle. I was like, but you understand that this isn't for growth. This isn't planned for growth. This is just a replacement cycle.
This is sustenance.
And they're like, well, it's not broken. I was like, that's not the point, right? And then I started explaining to them, if we had statistics on the old stuff, their previous admin had disabled all this stuff. I was like, if we had statistics, we could have predicted within a week, maybe 2, when you were going to shut your doors. And they're like, well, no. And I was like, yeah.
No, yeah.
Yes. I actually could have predicted within a week, maybe 2, when your doors were shut and there was no comeback because you guys didn't do certain things. Oh. Well, I'm sure you guys have heard this story before. You have a bunch of people in IT, a bunch of different jobs. Everybody does everything right. Like, they actually do everything right. Murphy's Law. Something happens. You do everything right no matter what. You go to do a restore. Whatever the case is, just stuff breaks.
Something's wrong. Yep.
A dump truck takes out 50 feet of fiber and it's going to take a week for them to replace it. Whatever the case is, something happens. In this situation, this particular company has done things not well for a long period of time. And then the problem is that they've never been burned. So they don't understand that feeling. And I was like, I'm nervous to click OK.
It's the AS400 sitting in the corner.
So we're going to do a terminal emulator.
10 meg Ethernet that's
Right.
don't touch it.
Right.
Don't.
Yeah, the entire. Once upon a time, I remember a very, very large and relevant, actually two good, really, really large and relevant website boiled down to a 2 gig access database on an admin's desktop. Jesus. And if she, God forbid, turned her computer off, that website went down.
Went down.
Right.
And there was another book chain in the area that they're in. Like I walked in to visit my buddy who was the computer book buyer one day, and there was a closet that literally had like 30 desktops, like desktop servers sitting in this closet, and there was a wad, like a 3-inch wad of tape over where the light switch clearly should have been. And I'm like, dude, what's with the wad of tape? And
That he was keeps people from touching.
He was
the
like, well, that's our .com, and people kept turning it off.
So identical. Come on.
No joke. I'll tell you who in the break.
Identical scenario. Picture a production line, right? Main feed for the production line that feeds in all the data to handle shipping, receiving, etc. Circuit breaker. That's the breaker everybody hits to knock out the lights in that area. When they hit it, it shuts down the line. If no one remembers to hit the breaker in the morning, there is no line. And I was like, okay, back to basics. So I was explaining to them, I was like, listen, you guys are all well educated. You guys are better in business than I am because I'm not doing this level of business.
But here's why you're dumb.
Right. That's essentially what I said. I was like, so let's go back. I was like, business 101. What do you do if the power goes out? Well, we do this and do that. Okay, have you tested these things? Well, nobody does that. Right. I was like, okay, I'm going to bring this guy over here that is a contractor from HP. And he's going to tell you that HP's disaster recovery plan, 9/11 was tested amazingly. You want to know what the disaster recovery plan? Building 1, building 2. Guess where the disaster was? And each one, when something happened, that was it. Yep. They lost it all, right? Because that would never happen. If you aren't planning for the insane nobody's thinking about, you're going to get burned.
You might even remember this meeting. I had a great conversation back in the day because I was our new data centers. I was locating in Chicago and Los Angeles.
I remember. I do remember that.
And our CTO, gave me a ration of shit about it. He was like, "Well, why Chicago and Los Angeles?" I'm like, "Well, okay, remember the outage of 03? That was like Chicago and East." I said, "So we've got the LA one as a backup, and life's good." And then I ran through a couple, and he was like, "Well, but what happens if both LA and Chicago go out?" I'm like, "Okay, look, if something happens where both LA and Chicago get knocked offline, we have much deeper, greater issues than whether or not someone can make their car payment."
Hands down. And then to where you were going, like in terms of risk assessment, right? This is the other aspect that I was trying to build to them, and I was like, okay, if you want to build a situation where you want to be able to protect your organization, you want to be able to protect the employees, which I actually call the old school way of thinking, right? I walk in, you're a family. Ford uses this tagline like one team, one Ford, but I was like, I think you should use that anywhere you're at. We're an entire team. We're here together. Everybody's got some skin in the game because we're here and we're employed. So what are we going to do to make sure everybody here is employed? Because that's our job. That's how I treat my IT job. I don't want to, but that's what I have to do. So in terms of our risk, okay, if you guys can have something that can go down because of your agreement with your customer, then guess what? That's great because that's a different level of service you can provide. You don't have to spend the money.
Right.
And if you have code where it might have an outage or might have an issue, because it is older, but it isn't necessarily
mission critical,
right.
It's not 24/7.
Million hits a second. Then hey, you know what? It's okay. And we can adjust the risk level and then the liability level, assess to it. And then if you're going to do your books and you need to look at liabilities and you got to look at how everything's at, you got to be able to weigh your risk with your code structure, your QA environment, and your infrastructure and say, how does this fit with our business and how does this fit with our company?
Well, and then play the possibility versus probability game.
Cost benefit.
Exactly. Is it possible that Chicago and LA can both go out? Yep. Is it probable? No.
Right. No. And so that's kind of where we're trying to come in. You know, we're not experts in DevOps. There's a lot of companies that are amazing at it. What we're trying to do is bring the concept of DevOps into a place that has no idea how to get there because maybe their company's not there, but they have big clients that think that they're there.
Right.
And everybody's faking it till they make it, but a lot of these companies, I think, are faking to survive it.
Yeah, and they're never really going to make it.
They're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And so I said, listen, I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt to the company that's been there for 20, 30, 40 years or more and say, listen, you made it, but now you're faking it to stay alive. Let me help you. Because we worked at a company that was able to stay alive that was 50 years old, and then senior partner passed away, rival company came in and swooped and bought them up. That's fine. I was like, but we worked there. We went through it. We went through the desktop servers. Let me help you through that phase, but it's a long haul. And if you're not in it for the long haul, you might as well just shut the doors.
Yeah.
You know?
Justin, this is a phenomenal conversation. I want to carry this into segment 4. Sure. We're going to come up on a quick break. We're going to be back with Justin from Brainiac Developers. This is the IT and the D Show, and we will be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey guys, it's Ty Mogg, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT and D Show.
ITinthed.com.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT and the D Show.
In the front, if you want to Welcome back to segment 4, episode 123, live from Podcast Detroit. This is the IT in the D Show, often imitated, never duplicated. Cliche, hashtag cliche. This is Bob the Sales Guy hanging out with David Geek, Nuri the FNG. Jeff, the other white meat Haas, is in the house. You can reach him at Dave Phillips as my secretary at gmail.com. Yes, that works.
He checks it. He does.
That'll never get old.
Get us on social. Follow us.
Does it have its new profile photo yet?
No, it's not done yet.
Are you wearing a dress?
No, last week they dug up an old photo of me from my stupid Star Wars website when the Free Press came out.
When you look like Bill Gates is
I just saw that earlier.
Yeah, that was my like 1997, I think. Yeah.
You guys like COBOL?
Fortran 77.
Right. Do us a favor, like us on the Facebook, follow us on the Twitters, hit us up on Instagram, download our app, Podcast Detroit, on iOS and Android, and mark your calendars. 2016 is full, third Thursday.
For the most part.
At all the places, except for St. Patty's.
And December again.
And December.
Those two.
That's it.
And speaking of December, so apparently the Operation Kid Equip event yesterday went phenomenally well.
Awesome.
We had Kevin Wilson out there again, the guy that played at our event, played their event, said it was the kids went nuts for him playing, which is just great to hear.
And these are kids that ask for winter coats for Christmas. I mean, let's preface this. This isn't like, I want a new iPad, asshole dad.
Right.
These are my toes are freezing in line at the bus. Can you please give me some nice boots?
Yeah.
I mean, it's perspective. It's a life perspective.
Yeah. So it did. It went really, really well, which is always good to hear. I mean, I think we topped out at $3,500 in cash donations.
Yeah.
And about $2,000 in toys. So it went really, really well. When I dropped off the 2 boxes that got left behind at our event last week, I mean, it was just a phenomenal stack of stuff that was put together. So, I mean, and of course, again, we'll be doing that next year as well. But all of our events are out there. And again, the first one is January 21st, Thursday the 21st, down at Firebird Tavern. Looking forward to being back there. Had a good event there last year. It was decent.
Yeah, no, that's a great place.
Yeah.
Maryland's on Monroe. I always love that building.
Yeah. Yeah, parking right next door to it. Life's good.
So speaking of Star Wars, we missed the announcement that our old friend Mel Brooks has decided, since Star Wars is such a big hit, he's going to bring back Spaceballs.
And it all apparently hinges on whether or not Rick Moranis is going to come out of retirement. Because, Rick's, his and you got to love the story. His wife died of cancer and decided he was walking away from Hollywood. That's why you haven't seen Rick Moranis in a movie in a long, long time. He walked away from Hollywood to raise his kids. And so it's, they asked him to come back for the Ghostbusters reboot, and he was like, yeah, that's not worth my time. So everybody's kind of hoping that the Spaceballs sequel will be worth his time to get him away from his kids.
Daphne Zuniga is probably older than Princess Leia right now. I mean, John Candy's passed away.
See, that's where I think.
I mean, why can't they just go new cast? I mean, how old is Lone Star, for crying out loud? I mean, it's not like, what are they, geriatric Spaceballs? Reboot the cast. Star Wars rebooted the cast. Reboot the cast. Was it? Why can't they burn dark helmets that I'm going to follow? Come on! I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I was actually talking with Ian on Saturday night, and we decided that Bob, you should be the new Barf. And so we've actually printed you this little name tag that we're going to put on your shirt.
Barf.
Instead of dark helmet, it can be dark chastity belt, right? Rebooted,
See?
They're talking about Spaceballs.
That's right. And Joan Rivers is dead.
Yeah.
So there's
the
robot. Yeah,
right. So redo the whole thing. Just
possible.
I'm my own best friend.
So, but on nice. So on Dave Phillips is my secretary at gmail.com now has its new profile photo. But on the Spaceballs thing, so Spaceballs: The Prophecy. One of the big plot points there was the cans of Perrier. And there are two guys out of Canada that are making a shitload of money right now selling canned air to Beijing.
That's good air.
Is it because the air is so bad? And
yeah, and then they started it as a joke. Like they decided as a joke. In fact, it was after watching Spaceballs one night, they decided to put because they live in Banff or something like that, some ski lodge town that has just really clean, crisp air. And so for a joke, they put a Ziploc bag of air on eBay, and it sold for $30. And they're like, "Hey, let's do that again." And so they did it again, and they got all these bids from China, and it went up over a couple $100. And so they're like, there's something to be said here. Let's give this a shot. And they started a company, and now they're selling canned compressed air to China.
I wonder how they do that. Is it a couple of dudes with 500 Mylar balloons and a bicycle pump?
Well, so they said one of the things they talked about in the article is that they've improved their manufacturing process. They're not going to tell everybody how they do it.
Mylar balloons and a bicycle
Six
pump
Sigma for canned air.
Yeah, but yeah, they're selling canned.
I'm totally going in the business of canning my farts, coffee cans.
No,
please
don't. Who's going to buy it?
Folders, coffee cans.
Go to Taiwan and
you asked that question, but I guarantee there's at least one listener that would chalk up the funds.
Oh yeah, there's totally.
Buy your authentic Bob.
Essence of Bob.
Eau de toilette for sure.
Chili dog flavor.
Oh, yeah, exactly. What did Bob eat that
Tonight's
day?
would be Detroit Applebee's.
They're phenomenal. But hey, back on the Star Wars front, though, there is a new swirl of controversy trending. Everybody's throwing out the "Where's Rey" hashtag because with the character set that's being released for the movie of all the action figures and toys, Rey is nowhere to be found, apparently.
Yeah, there's white stormtrooper.
They threw in a couple stormtroopers, but
Kylo,
not
Chewbacca.
One of the main characters in the movie.
The main character, the whole movie.
She comes with a speeder bike. When you get her with
it's a fudgicle.
Well, fudgicle. Okay. So the floating fudgicle that also hauls garbage. She comes with that one.
Right.
Yeah, but apparently people are mad that she's not in the
the
primary kit that's
Scarlett
marketed.
Johansson, Black Widow, and showing too much cleavage or her action figure isn't good enough.
Right.
This is the same scandal.
What do you do? Kicking.
What's your superpower? Kicking.
Really hot.
It's dumb. People are gonna bitch about anything.
But some things are worth bitching about, which brings me to my next topic, because these people need to be destroyed. The site needs to be hackers. If you're out there listening and you want something fun to do,
Hashtag anonymous.
This is the one that you want to. So let's talk about Honey Fund for a second, shall we?
Eat my ass, Honey Fund.
So remember the good old days where
is that what it's called?
When you were getting married and the whole you would save forever for your honeymoon and debating how much money. Yeah. So now there's a specialized Kickstarter / GoFundMe called Honey Fund where you lay out everything that you want to do on your honeymoon and people can buy your spa day for you. People can buy your swim with the dolphins package for you.
Hold on, Dave. Stop. There's this ass bag we know that lived in Auburn Hills. No, Jeff's
Thanks a lot. But the letters are close. Guess who's not invited next time?
The only reason I know about this,
he'll be our +1.
The only reason I know about this turd website is
because this turd Ferguson person that we know.
This ass bag. So basically, this caption is: "Flight and hotel are paid for. buy us. So they want to buy your zip lining tours and your spa day and your dinner, lobster dinner on the beach.
Let me ask though, okay, because I had a friend that specifically said to me, you know, when they were having their wedding, on their gift registry, like they were like, no, like if you can give us cash, that's fine, but we're putting it towards our honeymoon.
Is after.
Yeah, so like that's.
Don't give me don't give me $100 check. Like, put towards my honeymoon.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm okay. I'm fine with that idea. Like, whatever. I was like, oh, you know, like my wife and I were like, hey, you know what? No one got them the wine. You know, we're wine people. Whatever. Like, it fit for us. It fit for them. Whatever. But I was like, but no, after.
And the descriptions are so smarmy too. We'll enjoy a beautiful undersea view of 2 coral reefs. We'll swim and play with dolphins side by side.
Everybody wants a GoFundMe, right? GoFundMe because I need a squatty potty. GoFundMe because I need that. Right?
I'm on the podcast subreddit on Reddit, and there's guys going, I started a Kickstarter to get my podcast launched. I'm like, I just started a Kickstarter to buy new golf clubs to start my new hobby. Like, like when you're just starting off podcasting, it's a hobby. Yeah. Like, you mean to tell me if you can't fund it, you can't do it?
You need a USB mic and Audacity that's free. Right. That's what you need.
Actually, if you have any smartphone, you've got a mic. Right?
There you go.
Honestly, if you hey, you know what? You don't even need the headphones.
Yep.
You can
you don't.
It happen. You can make it happen. And let's be honest, a lot of people that started, that's how they did it.
Yep. Well, just like when you start golfing, you bought the $35 starter set from an old man that bought a new set of pings.
When you made your first website, you used Notepad.
Right.
Right. Well, yeah, but this just. I mean, this is the I don't even know how to put.
Society's gone to hell.
Yeah, if you can't do it, then you don't do it. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Exactly. Like I'm not launching a GoFundMe to buy me a Porsche. I'm not.
You should.
That's what we should do. Maybe we need a Porsche fund.
We should have. It should be a honey fund to first pay for the wedding, like the shower. Like I hate bridal and baby showers.
I do too.
Like kiss
I didn't
my
want
ass.
one.
No,
I don't want a bridal shower. I don't want a baby shower. Or your second baby, you get a sprinkle party. Why?
What the hell's that?
A sprinkle party. It's like shower 2.0. Dialed back a little bit because you already had one kid, so you got some crap for the kid, but you might not
maybe
need
you don't
much.
have it all. And I was like,
it sounds like something Penguin Con.
Dave, again, the look on your face is amazing.
Well, and it's like the whole like push present thing.
Oh no! When the present is, I knocked you up.
Yeah, hopefully you remember that orgasm. That was
just mine. I don't know if you had one. If you did, that was your second present. Merry Christmas.
But I swear to God, if I ever get like my cousins that are coming up, or if anybody like single friends who get married, if you have a honey fund, I'm going to mail you a box of shit.
I'm going to mail you a honey
Cards Against Humanity. Your Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, I will mail them more shit. I will box my own shit.
That's like the dollar dance. I'm going to be at a wedding and we're going to do the dollar dance. Here's $5. I don't want to dance with you. Right. Or here's $20. Don't do the dance.
Yes.
Well, no, that was I was PTA president for 2 years, and this thing went around, and I couldn't have brought it up because I would have been in the paper. But basically, it was donate, right? And it went from $5 to $100, and the $100 one was $100, and you never have to see me or hear from me again, right? Just pay for me to go away.
That's a lot of money.
I remember posting that. It was here's $25 for the T-shirt that for the walkathon that I don't care if my kid does or not. Here's here's $50 for the room party for the 8-cent cupcake or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, here's $50, and then here's $100. Never send me anything else this year.
Right.
That's all I.
Right. I would gladly pay that.
Right. I'm sorry I donated $20 to you, but for the next 100 years, you're going to send me 50 pages of paper every week.
That's Gleaners.
Gleaners. I donate to 3 charities in town: Operation Kid Equip, Gleaners, and Capuchin. Right.
Okay.
And I not a boatload, but enough. Where
not 8 million, just 2.
Right. Just 1.7.
1.8 depending on the tax.
Right. $1.7. But I get I get 3 emails a week from Gleaners. 3.
Well, those are emails, but I'm talking about paper, like the paper that costs money to mail me. Don't do it.
Oh, like if the ASPCA would stop sending me, like I love it. Like I don't mail enough. Like I have enough address labels now that between like my insurance guy and the ASPCA, I will never need another address label.
Donate once, never move. You're set for 5 years.
Because they just keep showing up. It seems like every time I turn
that
on.
one? Is that the sad dog?
Sarah McLachlan.
She sucks.
Right, but I mean, right? If I wanted to buy address labels, why would I go to Shutterfly when I could just give $5 to ASPCA and they'll give me 100 labels? I'm set, right? Like I'm going to go give $1 to everybody. Why go to Shutterfly? Why buy my own? Right. That's what charity's for.
They'll print them for me. That's why charities wind up giving 2%.
How much money would it cost to not have their shit commercials on my television? I want to know that number.
And I've always said
sad puppy is sad.
There's not a guy on the planet that if you told me that for an extra $1 a month on my cable bill, you would push all feminine hygiene product commercials to their own channel. And if someone was interested in them, they could go watch them there. But I would never have to see them in, say, like
one channel
the middle of a football game.
Oxygen.
No, and
put the money up.
For what it's worth, I think you have an excellent monetizable idea right now.
Yeah, just $1 a month.
For what it's worth, I guarantee there are plenty of people that would pay to not see. What was the erectile? No, it wasn't erectile dysfunction.
The commercial starts with occasional diarrhea.
You'll have anxiety.
Every time, make sure you ask your doctor if you're healthy enough for sex. Like, if the answer comes back no, do you just kill yourself right there in the doctor's waiting room?
It would be so much money.
Why does every pill ends with side effects may include nausea and diarrhea? Like everyone and diarrhea.
Why is diarrhea
Suicide
Pill for a mild headache.
You might have vertigo.
Yeah.
You can never drive again.
Vertigo, anal leakage.
Your left foot on then your other toe will fall off at the same time, which will cause you anxiety for 4.3 years exactly.
And diarrhea.
Anything with leakage is not going in my body.
No.
It was a Facebook post that you had. You're like, I spent the entire weekend watching programming on the History Channel that was littered with catheter commercials.
Whatever you do, if you ever have a catheter, don't reuse it, right? That's what I've learned from these commercials. I was like, holy shit, why would I wash a catheter? I
didn't know sticking balloons in your pee hole was like a household item thing. I thought it was like when you get surgery or something.
I mean, on one hand, I feel horrible for the people that are watching the commercial, but on the other hand, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Hold on, here's the thing. And you need one. Hold on, shut up. If you need one...
Wait, did you shut up somebody?
Yes. If you need one that badly, if your health is degraded to the point where you need one, and yes, it's awful, but if you need a commercial, I should switch brands.
Exactly how big is that demographic? That's my point. Who are they appealing to?
I know.
They watch the Steve Harvey show, though.
Why are they?
They think they're appealing to Bob, apparently, because he's watching the
adult
program.
diapers. Like, I'm buying whatever I can get the quickest the F out of the drugstore without anybody seeing.
Or that you can order from Amazon and have delivered by drone.
I should say, honey, what do you think about this brand of catheter? Like, this has been hurting my pee hole lately.
These are self-lubricating.
It's way better. Oh my God! Like,
this one has wings.
None of this is okay.
No,
none of it.
So speaking of Amazon, how many stores did we go into this year? I can say 0.
Does Target count?
Well, that's a store.
I had to buy my kids those pajamas.
Shopping for myself or for others?
No, just in general for shopping, for Christmas shopping.
I don't shop online. I can't do it. It's not my thing.
Really?
I like to go experience things. I like to pick things up, see them,
touch them, feel them, try them on,
and then buy them.
So you're not welcome.
Exactly.
And then go buy them online?
Showrooming.
No, I transact in stores.
Jeff's on a first name basis with every rep at Nordstrom. He's out of the box.
He may or may not allegedly have a personal shopper. Allegedly.
Nice.
Is it Andrea?
No. Even she takes issue with my shopping techniques.
Don't you miss that experience?
No.
Really?
Hell no.
No, because here's what is. You know what? I guess I hit one. I ran into Meijer on my way here because I realized I wanted to get a different kind of wrapping paper to wrap Anita's stuff up, all the stuff that I had bought online. So I ran into Meijer, and I picked up 3 rolls of wrapping paper. And it took me 25 minutes to get out of the goddamn store because of all the people that were even at the self-checkout line. It was ridiculous. I don't miss that at all, ever. For any I don't like I said, the great paradox of my life. Run a networking group with 6,000 people in it, events with 1,000 people at them. I don't like people. Especially when they're in between me and my goal.
I'll give you an example.
You should work on that.
Give you an example. The worst story of the day. bartender friend of mine on Facebook says, I need to find this thing for my kids. It's Army Men, right? $8. I can't find them at the Dollar Tree. I can't find them at Five Below. I went to Target. I went to Kohl's. I can't find anything. I go on Amazon, large Army Men, first thing, send a link. She goes, well, I don't want to pay for shipping, right? And I go, you just spent that in gas going to those 17 stores, and what's your time worth? I go, so I message her. I go,
let's talk about ROI here.
Yeah, I go,
opportunity cost.
I'm mailing them to your house. Merry Christmas. Buy me a shot of whiskey next time I see you. You can go home now and enjoy. What did it take me? 2.8 seconds?
I'll stop by Muldoon's on Friday with them. Or on Wednesday with them, yeah.
But we're talking about Army Men, plastic Army Men, right? Yeah, but when you're thinking about things like the fancy shirt that you're wearing today, Bob, right?
Right.
Like you,
so fancy.
Landsend.com, ordered it online.
That explains so much.
It does.
That wasn't from bowlingshirts.com.
What I'm saying is that some people enjoy that. But if we're focusing on just what happens this time of year, it's an awful time of year to go into a store because you have a bunch of people that are out that would normally not be out shopping, right? So you're waiting 25 minutes in line to check out. But any other time of the year, if you want something and you want something quality, sometimes you just got to go in the store. And
I'm good. Right? I would not like clothes. Like I have not made the transition to buying clothes online. That's like that. I still want to see. I want to try on. I want to at least find stuff I like.
90% of my clothes I buy online.
Again, that explains a lot. But like that. Like but anything else, I don't want to set foot in a store because I don't like. I don't like salespeople. I don't like the entire process. I don't like any of it. I
really?
Just want to.
Let me give you an example. My gorgeous, intelligent wife, who's been in the studio with us this entire evening.
Bo, just step up to the mic.
She texts me and says,
#suck up.
One of our children wants this.
He's like, I just saved myself a night of dinner.
One of our children wants this. I've been to 3 stores. I don't know what to do. I go, I just ordered it. It'll be at the house tomorrow. Like. Right, so you could have stopped going to those 3 stores, racking your brain, walking up and down the aisles. I said, how long have you've been with me for 18 years? Don't you know right now? Going this, and it comes to the house in 2.
Sure, I get it. Hey Alexa, please reorder those diapers for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right. No toilet paper.
The adult diapers.
No, not those. We ordered toilet paper on Amazon. It's gotten to that
just
point.
Catheters. Catheters come from Amazon.
So I guess to play devil's advocate.
You're getting it all wrong. You're just getting it all wrong.
And the other side of the flip coin, right? And I think this is what Billy was getting at. The way I buy I don't buy presents for a running ton of people in my life, right? Justin's son happens to be one of my 2 godchildren, so that's one of the people that I buy gifts for. And while there are people in my life that have lists and things they want, the things I enjoy getting them are the things that aren't on their lists, right? And sometimes
that's the point of buying gifts.
Well, but for me, it's like, well, I'm not just going to sit around and rack my brain. Sometimes. For me, I need to walk around a store and I need to be inspired. I need
thing
to
that
see
jumps
something.
out at you.
Exactly. And call it.
So scrolling a mouse doesn't give you the same?
No. I honestly.
Nice try, Bob.
It doesn't get it for me.
Gifts for him, gifts for her, category over the.
It doesn't work.
Top
for
selling.
me.
I like that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Be here tomorrow.
Yeah. And I mean, again, different strokes for different folks, and I realize that approach is probably going by the wayside, and people don't like the notion of going and battling for a parking spot and, elbowing people.
Oh yeah, I'm still in the new car park as far away from everybody phase.
Oh, you're still in that right now.
That ends after your first dent.
See that? Yes, but I'm still in the honeymoon period with my car.
Well, we can kick it and it'll be over.
How far gone is the 30-day tag at this point?
Oh no, I didn't. I never had a 30-day tag. I just transferred my plates. So, yeah.
Well, how far into the ownership cycle of this vehicle? Okay.
But I'm going to say, though, Jeff, there's nothing like my dad introduced me to the idea of having someone who is almost like a personal shopper, but that person that helps you put on a suit that's fitted perfectly for you, that's not hanging off of your body. Like, I had never had that experience before, right? And so, that, to me, is something that everybody should have at least one experience.
Absolutely. But buying a Lego set for my kid, I don't need some
I totally agree with you on that.
But there's some stuff. There are a couple stores that I wouldn't call the local shop small store where they, at the time, they knew me, right? Like when I came in. Not because
Not because I was like, oh, I'm buying. No,
See,
no.
that's us with bars.
Right,
That's,
right. Yeah, I didn't have that.
Sounds about right.
It was just like, I came in and they knew like what my tastes were.
It's
or
the
whatever.
catheter store, wasn't it?
It was. It was the catheter store.
He's
just
an
the
extra
green
small.
catheters. But yeah, an extra small green, right? But no, it was like you walk in and they kind of like knew what you wanted.
Right.
They're like, hey, we have some new stuff. And there's a particular store my buddy and I went to in Wyandotte, right? It's an eclectic store that's got a little bit of everything. It's like a Claire's exploded with like a garage sale with this and that. But the point is that they have some stuff that I can't get online, but that I like. That's like stuff that's online. But I know who made it, or I know like the person. Right now, I'm supporting some small business, but I actually like their product. I'm not doing it just because I want to. They have some other stuff there where I was like, well, you know what? Like, I'm already here. It's the same exact price as I was going to get it from the place I was going to get it online.
Right.
So, it's fine. I have a limit. I usually say sometimes I say it's $5, but usually it's $2. If it's within $2, I don't care.
Right.
And it's kind of, I look at it as gas. Right.
Well, so and to me, it's usually not about cost with me. It's about convenience.
Right.
It's about avoiding that headache.
Absolutely.
Of trying to find a parking spot, dealing with it. Yeah, that's
my $2 limit, right?
Yep.
The convenience factor. If I'm already there and you have it, but I know even if it's within $2, rather than drive to the other store, I'll just go ahead and get
Dave, can you imagine if I had to cook this Saturday? Like, I had to have it catered.
Oh, you'd be doomed.
Just going to Meyer alone and buying. And
You'd have gone on a tri-state killing spree.
Oh my god! But hey,
Oh my god!
But hey, we're gonna wrap things up.
So real quick, we did not talk. And we'll put the links in the recap. We did not talk about the ungodly Juniper hack that's out right now. Moral of the story: if you have Juniper infrastructure, you're going to want to make sure that you're going to want to
run, Forrest.
Yeah, exactly. Firmware upgrade. There's a big ugly hack with a password that's out there that any user ID with that password will work and give somebody root control of everything.
There's a reason they're not in that
What's
quadrant
great, the
anymore.
password is my favorite. It's Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Art of
I didn't even
War.
see
Oh,
That makes it
yeah.
And so basically 26,000 right now on the open internet. By one scan, they found 26,000 that are completely open, including the Department of Defense. Yeah, so
they're always open for
pretty
business.
nasty.
Exactly. And then the evil bastards that have said that they're going to go ahead and try to knock off the Xbox and PS4 networks on Christmas Day.
Always.
Because screw those guys.
As long as it's the PS4, not the Xbox One, go do it.
Right. It doesn't have any impact on my life.
Right, exactly.
So, hey, again, just to wrap things up, we are all out at all of our things are out at itandthed.com. We've got all of our events for 2016 published and ready to go. They're on the Facebook page. They're on the Meetup group. They're everywhere. We got one more show for this year. We got some cool guests coming in next week.
On behalf of all of us here at IT and the D, I want to wish you and your families
whatever it is that you celebrate.
Yeah, happy that.
Happy that.
I say Hanukkah's over. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas to all you. And then, whatever else anybody celebrates, happy that. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't have to go home. Just get the hell out of here.
Oh, real quick, once around the room, get URLs.
Yes. Billy Strotter, you're at Social Coop Media.
SocialCoopMedia.com. Hi,
Right.
Mom.
Jeff Heischer at Dave Phillips, my secretary at gmail.com. Correct. And then Justin.
I'm at Brainiac Devs, DEVS.com.
Or 1844
DevOps. You like that?
Dude, that's brilliant. That's so cool.
Perfect. But hey, this is the IT and the D show. We'll guys see you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Make the run.
The run.
Game over, man. It's game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Ruth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe on the cheese.
Beer me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right. Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up. Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Yeah. Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT and the D Show.